Mike Holland joins us now with his take on the markets and the economy. He's chairman of his own money management firm, Holland and Company. So, Mike, we've gone through a crazy week. Worries about Russia, worries about the economy, worries about interest rates. What's the next worry for investors, or have things calmed down a little bit and we have a break here?
Well, the Fed's behind us. We've had some of the early warning signals from companies that weather hurt the first quarter and so on. So your recap of the week, Susie, was very helpful. Now I know why at Friday night I'm kind of tired. This was quite a week, and yet at the end of the week, yet once again, the S&P, the market was up a little over 1%, and that's been the story for the last 5 years. Since 2008, 2009, we've had plenty of things to worry about, but stocks had become so cheap back then. People have thrown in the towel, and many people the towel is still in the middle of the ring. They have no interest in getting, and stocks are still okay at where we are now. But I think that the next thing to worry about probably continues to be Putin and what's going on over there. We have President Obama over in Europe right now trying to put things, but I think that's probably where the market will focus for a while.
You know, Mike, I'm with you. Stocks ended higher on the week, but it sure didn't feel that way. It was tough getting there. If you were looking for value in equities right now, what kinds of companies would you be lasering in on?
Ty, that it's actually sometimes it gets pretty easy, and right now, if you look at the world, you look at where the U.S. is. The U.S. is probably best situated of all the markets. Within the U.S. market, we have some crazy things like Tesla and Twitter and things like that price, but we have the big quality companies remaining, even though they're up over the last 5 years, they still remain at valuation levels because they've increased their value of their earnings and their cash flow in the basic businesses with strong balance sheets. So you have companies like Intel, Microsoft, Johnson & Johnson, ExxonMobil, JP Morgan. These companies still remain quite attractive on just an absolute basis. And then relative to other things, for example, treasuries and in some parts of the fixed income market, some areas of real estate like London houses, U.S. stocks, the big quality companies, are easily the most attractive thing to me. Sometimes when it gets this easy, you wonder what could be wrong with it. Well, good news is there's numbers.
Mm-hmm. You know, as you saw today, Fitch Ratings lifted its negative outlook on the U.S. economy. And, we've had some good reports on the U.S. economy this week. Is that one of the reasons that you feel better about investing here rather than in non-U.S. holdings?
Absolutely, Susie. You and I spoke earlier today about the interesting juxtaposition of the U.S. having its improved Fitch outlook and Russia being downgraded. These are simply facts. Facts are stubborn things. The U.S. looks pretty good. We're probably getting right now, this week, a few indicators that the spring could be surprises to the upside with the economy. And one of the reasons you can have some comfort in that outlook is that bank lending over the last few weeks has had a noticeable and significant turn. That hasn't been the case for the last 5 years. The Fed has been dying for this to happen, and it's starting to happen. If we get that continuing, and it looks like it may, we could have some really interesting quarters in front of us in terms of surprises to the upside with the economy, which we haven't had in a long time.
Very quick thought on some of those sexy names. You mentioned a couple of them, like Twitter, like Tesla, and there are others that are up a lot, and always the danger is that people want to chase that performance.
And Ty, you and I were around, the two of us, in the dot-com time, and we know that those things aren't over until they're over, but they're craziness. That's exactly right. Once again, numbers are persistent things, facts are persistent things. These things are priced ridiculously high. Wonderful companies, ridiculous stock prices. Then you look at some of these other companies, Apple. You look at Apple and you look at Twitter. You look at Microsoft and you look at Tesla. These are crazy prices for these things when you have really high-quality merchandise over here at really low prices. It doesn't make any sense.
Right. Well, we could go on and on about all of that. Thanks so much, Mike, for coming by. Really appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Mike Holland of Holland and Company.